Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin, known as the Dream Decipherer, and this is Dream Your Life, Live Your Dream Life, where we talk about all things dreams. Now, today's subject is an intriguing one, I think, and we're going to be looking at shared dreams. People and having the same dream or being in the same dream. So, can two or more people share a dream? While there isn't any scientific evidence or research done around this subject, there is plenty of anecdotal evidence from people around the globe about this. And in fact, I'll share two stories of clients of mine who have had this experience. So yes, it is possible. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Our emotions are a strong driver for our dreams. Our dreams are about our emotions, whether they're recognized or hidden. And when we're emotionally involved with someone, excuse me, our unconscious mind can channel those emotions into our dreams. So there's an empathy that between two or more people, maybe in a family, for example, excuse me, where that connection can actually breed dreams in concert with one another. Sometimes it may involve a person, you and another person dreaming about each other on the same night. Or, as in one case, which I'll talk about a little bit more later, somebody asked a question and their partner answered the question the next day. Sorry, it's windy here, so I think a bit of between hay fever and a bit of dust that's getting in my throat. So, if we look at throughout history, what we'll find is that dreams have sparked a lot of curiosity and intrigue, which have impacted our cultural values and narratives, as well as our spiritual beliefs, and that's right around the planet. Ancient dream theories often pointed to shared dreams as divine messages or prophecies. So you can well imagine if several people have had very similar dreams or the same dream in one night, the impact that would have on the entire community. And in fact, there are instances of that even today. For example, I'm always talking about the Navajo and Hopi peoples in the southwestern U.S., whose elders will sit down and dream the world that their great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren will inherit. So, and there are other countries and other places where dreaming together is an accepted and even expected practice. So, this collective dreaming in these ancient cultures or traditional cultures are an accepted practice, which will contribute to the group's well-being and knowledge, so that the whole group benefits from these dreams. Talking, for example, dream time among the Aborigine people of Australia, whereas they don't talk about dreams in certain ceremonies and things, they will perhaps act out dream time, as they call it. And if we look at it from a psychological point of view, I mean, Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud all have expressed the theory and belief that all humans share a common psychological substrata, so that it's very possible for people to dream of places they've never been. They can speak languages they don't know, and it's because that common substrata psychologically connects every single one of us on the planet. So, and time in terms of the psyche doesn't exist. There's no past, there's no present, there's no future, really, or there's only now. So a hurt that occurs in a family can pass from generation to generation, because that psychological substrata and even DNA passes that information on to the next generation. There are many documented instances, and I've documented several of my own, where therapists, psychotherapists, or working with clients will have dreams with each other. I mean, I know for me personally, I would introduce myself to a new client when I was doing counseling work, and I'd say, if there was a dream they'd like to present, to bring it along so we could look at it and see what was going on behind the scenes. And almost invariably, oh, I had a dream just last night. So it was this, and the dream always framed perfectly what was going on with the client. So it gave me a basis to how to approach working with them. And they would give me information. It's like if I was on the right track with a particular position or perspective that I had. Sometimes the dreams would kind of like, yeah, you're on the right track, keep going. Or sometimes you're off with the fairies, man. Get rid of this, ditch this idea and go with someplace else. So there are documented documentation around anecdotal evidence, again, where people are dreaming for one another, but we're going to be looking specifically at people dreaming together. Now, the best documented cases occur between like parents and children, spouses, lovers. So that is that close emotional bond, and again, that psychological substrata reinforced by familiar ties or family ties that drives the commonality of the dreams. Now, there are also documentations of twins who are psychologically connected all the time from the time that they're conceived. They communicate constantly with one another, whether verbally or non-verbally. And it's very common for them to have shared dreams, and even kind of when talking about the dream, finishing each other's sentences and and stories, because they've tapped into one another's psyche. Now, personally, there were two instances in slightly different circumstances that I've had clients who had this shared dream experience. The first was a colleague of mine back in London, and she asked a question in her dream, and the next day her husband came to her and said, "Oh, the thing that you were looking for, it's in such and such place in the attic or something." So it was, even though she asked the question in her dream, he was able to kind of tap into that dream somehow and give her the answer that she was looking for without her even having expressed the question out loud during waking hours. So, but that psychological tie was there and he tapped in. Another incident, slightly different, was where this particular client was passing on esoteric or spiritual teachings to one of his sons and the son's friend. Now, I've mentioned this before, but I find it fascinating. It's these teachings were being passed in as part of Buddhist practice. This particular client is a Buddhist, but there's a lot of dream teaching or dream communication that goes on as part of Buddhist tradition. But the client wasn't sure whether the teachings were actually taking, But he received confirmation the very next day from the son himself, who said, "Oh, I had this dream, and we were learning these words. It was a mantra that the father was teaching, and he repeated back the words, not perfectly, but close enough that the father knew that, oh, you did receive those teachings." So yes, again, there's that parent-child relationship or husband-wife relationship that was the driver, if you will, for that 5D, if you will, communication, rather than in the 3D. So if we accept this premise that two or more people can have the same dream, what does this imply with regard to the study of dreams? And if we assume that the brain produces the dreams, we have to assume that somehow the two brains were entrained with one another. In other words, they were somehow in sync psychologically, the two or more people, and therefore able to receive those signals. Think of it like a television set. If it's not tuned properly, the connection is bad, you get a bad reception, you can't see or hear anything. But when the radio waves are properly received by the television set and converted into sound and video, it's because there's a perfect synchronization. And I think that it's something like that with people when they have these shared dreams. I know personally I have had a shared dream with someone. We didn't dream the exact same thing, but the emotional content of what we dreamt about was the same. So it's not perhaps a question of you dreaming exactly the same thing all the time, but that the emotional impact of that dream, that feeling content of the dream, is similar or the same. So, there's a synchronicity that's going on where the two or more people are on the same wavelength, literally. If you want to look at it that way. So while there isn't any definitive scientific explanation for this phenomenon, there are several theories and interpretations that may serve to explain what's going on with this. One theory talks about connection and manifestation, with some people believing that when two people have the same dream, it, of course, as I've been saying, it indicates that there's a strong connection between them. And it's believed that somehow the minds of these people manifested or brought up or created the dream together. Perhaps because they have similar outlooks and similar personalities and share certain characteristics. On the psychological level, if you look at it according to psychological studies, mutual dreamings could be connected to can't get my words out. Could be a form of empathy. Dreams could be seen as a simulation, if you will, of our waking social life, and it incorporates characters and our feelings, motivations, different scenarios, and our emotions, principally our emotions. And people who have this higher level of empathy tend to incorporate similar contexts into their dreams, which may be a reason for this shared dream experience. Now, looking at it from the point of view of psychic connections, there's yet another perspective which suggests that there is a psychic or telepathic connection between the persons, and that it is that psychic substrata. Again, we're going back to the psychological theory of Jung and Freud, that there's this substrata that is in common with other people. Not just our lovers, not just our children, not just our friends, but all of humanity. And these shared dreams are tapping into what is called the collective unconscious. So all of the knowledge and all of the information that humans have ever had from the beginning of time is kind of out there in the ether and can be pulled down by a person or several people, and perhaps pulling down the same information simultaneously, therefore creating this collective dream. So in this grid, again, there's no past, there's no future, there's only now, and that now becomes manifested as part of the dream. So there's possible reasons that common dreams may occur could include warnings or dangers, and we're talking about communal dreaming, as I call it, where a community may be given certain kinds of information to warn of impending problems or dangers to the group, or that there's some upcoming challenge that needs to be met and dealt with. It could be visions of future events. Now, going back to my example of Navajo and Hopi people, where they're dreaming the world of the future into existence in the here and now for their children to come. There could be possibly also the collective unconscious bringing up archetypes. There's certain patterns and images that are common and can be brought up, which tap into collective instincts, feelings, etc. I mean, when we use examples like, let's see, the wise old man, that's an archetype. The eternal Peter Pan, never wants to grow up, that's another archetype. Jezebel, that's an archetype. So, we can tap into these archetypes, and that, again, taps into our emotional lives, and that can tap into, again, that common emotional strata that we all share. And then finally, looking at similar belief systems. Oh, I really can't talk today. Looking at common belief systems or ideas or principles that people have in common, particularly if there's some kind of challenge being faced by a group of people or community, that can bring up and reinforce these shared ideas and principles in a common dream. Everybody's kind of pulling together, if you will. So those are some thoughts about common dreams or sharing of dreams. And if anyone out there has ever had an experience like that, where you and another person, whether it be a friend, family, lover, teacher, whoever, have shared a dream that was very similar or exactly the same, I'd love to hear about it. It's something that I don't hear a lot about. Occasionally I do hear, as I've mentioned, from clients, but I'm sure it's probably more common than we think. So if you've had that experience, I'd love to hear from you and find out what that was like for you. Anyway, there you have it, shared dreams, and I hope you take away something interesting from that, and keep track of your dreams, and don't be afraid to talk about them. People I find are very shy about talking about their dreams because they think they're weird, they're crazy, they're shameful, I don't know. And any number of reasons. But there could be wisdom for you as well as other people that's being missed out on because you're not voicing what's going on. So I leave that thought with you, and I thank you for watching and listening, and I hope I will see you on the next one. Thanks you so much, and have a great rest of the day and week to come. Take care. Bye-bye.